Welcome to Learning Photography with Duck. Here's your host, Duck.
Let's go. Oh, there we go. There we go. We're back in operation. All right. Okay. Hey, what a way to start off September, right? With a little snafu. All right. Once again, my name is Duck. I am your host. Thank you for joining me for Learn Photography with Duck. And today, being the first of the month, it is Lightroom Edition. And I was kind of hoping that Brian was going to be here because he sent me a couple of emails. He was having problems with his catalog, and I wanted to kind of address those. But I wanted to address it with him. So if he shows up later on, we'll segue into that. He had the problem he was having is that he was importing some images into his catalog, and the catalog is telling him, or Lightroom rather, is telling him, hey, these images are already in the catalog, but yet he couldn't find it in the catalog. He can find it outside of Lightroom, but he couldn't find it within Lightroom. So um, without a lot of additional information from him, I really couldn't give him a concrete answer. I did some research. I was going to share a few things, but I was also going to ask him some further detail about it. But since he's not here, I can't ask him. We can't resolve it. So we'll just shift forward. All right, let me just share with you real quick a few things that are coming up. The photo hunt, actually, you know what? Give me 1 second. Let me grab the cards. All right. So this game has been in development for a couple of years. I don't know if any of you have ever played this. I've run this game a couple of times in the past. Um, and what it is a series of prompt cards. All right, it's these little decks here. This is one of two decks. There's 104 cards that I put together, and let me just pull out a couple of these. And what they are is it's a game. All right, it's a card-based game, and each one of these cards has a subject and a prompt. So for example, this card says lifestyle. More than just capturing people doing things, a good lifestyle photo captures the exuberance of life while doing that thing. Show us that excitement and energy. And what you're supposed to do is, within the environment, you're supposed to go out and be able to capture something that expresses what is on the card. And they range in difficulty from super easy to, a little bit more on the difficult side. And they're supposed to challenge you kind of in a fun way. So when I was developing these, I wanted to, well, I identified basically two things that I wanted to be able to do with these cards. One, use them in a group environment as a way of getting some kind of interaction within a group environment. And of course, I was thinking suitable for camera clubs and camera groups, uh, where people can get together. We can whip these out and at any time get an impromptu game going. The second part was, I would like to be able to use these in a solo environment. So not necessarily in a group environment, but in a solo environment where you want to go out with your camera, and maybe the the juices aren't going, and you're like, I don't know what to shoot today. Well, hopefully you pull out a couple of cards and it gives you some encouragement to go out and shoot whatever's on the card. And then, of course, that kind of gets the ball rolling, and hopefully one thing leads to another. So that was my goal. And as I started developing, I put together, like I said, I got 104 cards. So enough literally for 2 decks worth of prompts. Now, I've run these in the past. The first game I ran was with cards I printed off on cardstock on my printer, just to kind of proof of concept kind of thing. And it went over really, really well. So I went and designed a bunch of cards. I went and actually designed all the cards and had them printed. And the first version, it was called just Photo Hunt, a game for photographers. And then I said, well, I got to get serious about this. And I actually talked to a patents lawyer and the intellectual property lawyer about getting these registered and everything. It says, yeah, Photo Hunt's not going to fly. It's too generic. You can't copyright, you can't trademark, generic terms. Photo Hunt is too generic. So I said, well, okay, I got to redesign some of the cards anyway, because in play, I discovered some errors. I discovered some things that needed to be changed. So I changed it to Snap Happy. Couldn't think of anything better, but I figure Snap Happy, a photo hunt challenge, a game for photographers. So that's what it is. So I have it here. This is my version of it, because stupid me, I lost my first set that I had printed out. I have no idea where they are, but it comes in this nice little flip box with the 2 cards, or the 2 decks, and a little instruction manual. So anyway, CTPPA likes to do an event once a month. So I said, hey, let's run a photo hunt game. So he says, great idea. We'll do it in September. So September 14th, in the morning, 10 a.m., we're going to be at the Waterbury Green. I've ran this before up at the Waterbury Green. Oh, and Brian is here. Awesome. And I've actually done it in Hamden. I've done it in, several places, and it's always been well received. So, Saturday, September 14th at 10 a.m., I'll be running this. And of course, I got to give myself a challenge, because at 1:30, I'm going to be in Milford running a beginner's photo walk. Obviously, it doesn't apply to you guys. You guys are way, way more advanced for that class. But if you know somebody who is new to photography, maybe just bought themselves a DSLR and is trying to work their way through it, let them know, hey, Milford Photos running this, photo walk. I basically kind of demystify how to use a DSLR introduce them to shooting in manual mode. So anyway, that's going to be on the same day, on the 14th, starting at 1:30. Then later next month, starting on the 5th, I'm going to be doing 2 back-to-back sessions also with Milford Photo on off-camera flash. And this particular one will be using what's called a Strobus kit, which is a lightweight, off-camera flash kit. It's basically a strobe, an umbrella, a light stand, and your camera. And we'll be shooting outdoors and learning how to use your off-camera flash in an outdoor environment to kind of enhance the light that's available outdoors. So like I said, I got 2 back-to-back sessions on the 5th. Let's see, 10 a.m. and 12 noon. And then on the 6th, which is Sunday, thanks to Robert Fiedler from Hartford Amateur Photography Group and the New Britain, the Art League of New Britain, I'm going to be doing a 3-hour, more in-depth session on portrait lighting. So if anybody is interested in learning, portrait lighting using flash in a portrait studio environment, I'm going to be doing a pretty lengthy workshop there. That's going to be with the New Britain Art League, so you do need to register with them. It's alnb.org. And I'll be working from, setting up a single light to 2 lights, and probably culminating with a 3-light setup. And hopefully we'll get some people interacting and setting, and working the scene as well. So anyway, that's what's coming up. If anybody has anything they like to share, anybody? No? Okay. All right. Brian is here. So Brian, you good? You here?
Here I am.
Okay. Brian.
Wait. I just have to say we were walking home to get here. We shortened our walk, and we live in a condominium complex, and we crossed the 2 most chatty people in the condo complex. Marie Claire's still stuck with one of them.
Oh no. You.
Back to our house. I got a show to go to.
You didn't drag her along with you, huh? You said, sorry, we gotta go.
I did say that, but she said one last thing to her, and still outside.
Well, hopefully she doesn't get mad at you for ditching her like that. So anyway, let me switch. Anyway, Brian had sent me a email with a problem he encountered. Were you able to resolve any of it?
No. And a couple other things popped up as a result of it. And so, no, I didn't get a resolution, but then I started thinking that for what I really wanted those photos for, that I didn't know if it was worth all the search and research. I did find the bridge photos I was looking for, but on the other hand, something else has popped up still, that there is this one photo that I took that I know I've played around with, and I can see it in the directory, but when I look for it in Lightroom, I don't see it. And when I try and do a sync, it goes, there's nothing to sync. So
Right.
I don't know, that one still has me perplexed, because I think if I dug around, I could find that thing. I might have just worked on it directly in Photoshop, and I don't know if Lightroom got wind of that somehow, or I crossed them when I did some other syncing. So
Right. Well, I did some looking into it, and it's hard to get a definitive answer for you, considering I wasn't able to really duplicate the problem myself. So it's hard to, be able to say, okay, for your situation, you got to do A, B, C, and D, and this is going to resolve it. Okay. But it did lead me to have a couple of questions. And one of the things that I suggested was doing a library search for the file.
Yeah, we
And
talked about meta tag stuff, and
yeah.
just to
Uh,
say that these things are all old storage from my phone and my original 5300. So I had not really gone in and done anything to many of these things. I'm in a mode now where
right.
I go looking for some old stuff and I go, oh yeah, I'd like to work on that again.
Okay.
And
Well, here's a quick way of doing a search. All right. Uh, I think last time we talked about that when you are in your folders tab. Okay. Hold on a second. My spotlight's not working. Let's try that again. Spotlight. There we go. When you are in the folders tab at the top, there is a search bar that allows you to filter the folders. Okay. Um, but of course, this only applies to folders. All right. So in your case, you're looking for one very specific file. So one of the things that you can do is if we go to the catalog tab, okay, and pull that open, this kind of gives you some statistics about your catalog. All right. And you can see it tracks all your photos, all your synced photos, if there are any sync errors. All right. Sync meaning sync between, Lightroom programs up in the cloud. Quick collections, what was brought in on the previous import, previous export as catalog. So, kind of like this running information that allows you to kind of keep track. But in particular, if you click on the top one where it says all photographs, okay, what that does is it's going to allow you to, let me just make these thumbnails smaller. It's basically as if you're going to the folders tab and clicking on all your folders to show all the thumbnails. Okay, so this is kind of like a shortcut to have access to every single image in your catalog without having to do a lot of juggling around. Okay, so once you have this available, at the very top we have our toolbar. All right. No, I'm sorry, the filters bar. Okay. And let's see, the filters bar, if you don't see it at the very top, just click on the backslash. Okay, the backslash, and it's going to open up this search bar. Okay. And in particular, what you're going to look for is either the metadata, okay, but I would suggest probably start off with the text, because if you can find the file in your file browser, all right, one, you already got a head start because you know where the file resides, okay, but secondly, you can look at the file name. Okay, grab that file name And in the, we'll put it in the text here. And in the text, you have the ability to search a variety of um, search criteria. All right. File name, copy name, title, pretty much a lot of the internal metadata that's available to you. All right. But in particular, we're obviously looking for the file name, which is right at the top of the list. And then you have your Boolean parameters. Contains all, doesn't contain, all right, starts with, ends with, obviously. These are pretty self-explanatory. But contains, and then what you would do is you would go ahead and put in the file name. And if you're pulling a file name that the camera assigns to you, all right, and I'm just going to pick something random, and I know mine starts with underscore mg underscore, and then I will do 056. How's that? Okay. And 0560 we'll do. It's 4 digits. Okay. And you can see that there are, oops. There, let's go here. And as you know, as your camera takes a photo, it's going to increment to the next number up, the next number up, and the next number up. And the digits, being a 4-digit number, will go from 0001 all the way up to 9999, and then circle back again to 0001. So your camera is going to use the same file name over and over again. All right. So whatever the file name is, if you enter it in, kind of like what I did here, you're going to see that there are multiples of that file name. And all you got to do is hopefully find it, because maybe it got stuck somewhere in a different folder. One thing that I've found that I sometimes tend to do is, if I'm not paying attention. Hey, Don is joining us. Woohoo! Don, my man, long time no see. Oh, you're muted, buddy.
Yeah, how you doing, Duck? Long time no see.
Doing well. All right.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah, I hear you. All right.
It's been real crazy.
So we're talking about finding lost files. Okay. So I know sometimes, as I'm working, I have a bad habit of working from the folders tab. All right. Some people said this is a bad habit. I find it's, for me, it's easier to navigate through my content with the folders tab, and like I have everything here. I find sometimes that if I'm working a little bit too fast and not paying attention, sometimes sometimes images will get inadvertently dropped into some random folder. All right. Or if I'm not careful, a folder will get dropped into another random folder. Okay. Now, because I've done this in the past.
You mean I'm not the only one?
No, usually when at the minute it occurs, I realize what happens and I'm able to, undo it. But sometimes, forget it. I don't catch it until later, and then I have to go hunting for it. So I make sure that this little idiot box, all right, moving files on disk, this will cause the corresponding files on disk to be moved. So what that means is not only are you moving it within the library, but it's also going to move it within the file structure of your um, um, computer, mental block there. Okay. If you proceed, neither this move nor any changes you made prior to this can be undone. All right. Meaning once you move it, that's it. All right. Which it's not necessarily the case. All right. But if you look, there it says this little checkbox, don't show it again. All right. Because admittedly, having a popping up all the time can be very aggravating. So a lot of people will go say, I don't want to be reminded of this all the time. I'm going to go ahead and check that. I don't want to see this pop up ever again. And of course, the minute that you inadvertently drop a file or a folder in the wrong place, you wish you had this reminder. So I make sure I keep this reminder because it is Lightroom's idiot test and I fail it sometimes. So, but anyway, the problem is not that you've inadvertently moved a file or a folder within Lightroom and now can't find it. I'm thinking what happened is the reverse. Somehow the file and the folder that you're able to find in your file browser got moved outside of Lightroom. So Lightroom, may think that, hey, it's supposed to be here. All right. I have an address for it, but I'm not finding it. All right. But I know it's in the catalog. Okay. But it's just not where you are seeing it's supposed to be. So maybe doing a search, in this way will allow you to hopefully find it and put it back in its original location. So, go ahead and give that a try. Okay. So that's pretty much all I've been able to really figure out, as a solution. All right. The other thing, and I read a couple of articles on this. I couldn't make too much sense out of it because I really couldn't replicate it. Was that some people have reported a glitch where the smart preview causes this issue to occur, but I haven't been able to find a way to fix it. So I'm still looking for you to figure out a resolution for you. And again, I have no clue how a smart preview could affect that. But one thing that you can do is possibly get rid of your smart previews. All right. Now, me personally, I'm not a big fan of smart previews or one-to-one scale previews, for the fact that it tends to take up a lot of disk space. It has its purpose. Smart previews and one-to-one previews are great when you are in in the middle of your workflow with your current project. Okay. But once that project is done, having those large files hanging around just bloats your catalog. And for that reason, I'm not a big fan of it. Okay.
Hey, Doc. question about that. As you know, I don't use Lightroom for a catalog because I do my old ways since 1984 of cataloging things. Uh, and I always delete the library afterwards. Am I still having a problem with that, or am I still taking up disk space? Because when I
Um,
sign out, when I sign out, it says, "Do you want to back up?" And I always say no. So am I
right.
taking up disk space someplace?
If you're not maintaining an active library, no. Well,
What I do is when I go into Lightroom again to do my next job, I
mhm.
get rid of the catalog or whatever it is I made. So it's not there. As far as I know, I'm not saving anything.
Okay. All right. Uh, I will I will address that at the same time as I'm addressing this next part with Brian, because
Okay.
they share a little bit, um, and um, well anyway. Uh, so when it comes to large size previews, one thing that you can do is you can flush your system of all of these large size previews. Okay. Now, like I said, I'm not a big fan of large, full scale one to one previews because, in essence, you have the raw file, which is, when you have a full resolution, 5K, 6K image file, it's building a one to one, meaning if you have 5,000 pixel wide raw file, it's going to build a 5,000 pixel wide JPEG. Okay. Uh, so um, that just bloats the system, like I said. What I find is my particular computer is fast enough that if I work with a standard preview, all right, the way Lightroom works is it will temporarily build a large one to one preview when you are in the edit mode or, in the develop module. Okay. If there is not a smart preview or a one to one available, it will build one temporarily while you are in the develop module. So that way, as you're working on it, you're able to zoom in and look at the details and see exactly, what you are editing. And then when you leave, go on to the next image, it pretty much dumps that. Okay. This process of building and dumping and building and dumping obviously takes time. But like I said, my system's pretty beefy and pretty fast that if it takes me half a second at the longest to build a one-to-one preview, I'm okay with that. All right, because I'm not rushing. I'm not looking at microseconds to shave off my editing time because I'm, it's not that critical for me to shave seconds. All right.
Hey, Duck,
Yeah.
can I share my screen so you could tell me what I'm doing with one-on-one or the most efficient way to do this, or am I interrupting something?
Uh, well, hold on a second because I may be able to answer it in this. Okay. Um, because you can set in your uh, preferences, I believe. Do, 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 general. And of course, now that I need to find it, file handling. Oh yeah, here it is. So in your preferences um, dialog box, okay,
Hmm.
file handling, import DNG creation. All right. One of the
Mhm.
things that you have, obviously, wow, you can pick between lowercase or uppercase, you know, who cares? But here is where you can uh, label, or you can determine whether you want, what size preview you want. So you can see I have mine set to medium size because that gives me enough of resolution for the thumbnails and for, general everyday putzing around use. But then when I go to edit, it's going to automatically build me the large one. Okay. But one thing I would suggest, all right, or I should say, one thing that was suggested, because people have identified that sometimes this causes that really weird glitch, to go ahead and dump your smart previews and dump your, one-to-ones. And the way you do that, you have to be in the library module. Okay, the library module. So you have either the grid. Okay, actually, let me go ahead and do this. Go to library, and then towards the bottom, all right, you're gonna see library previews, all right, and here you can build, all right, if you need to build a standard size or a one-to-one preview for either an individual image or a folder, or in this case, I got to be careful because I have my entire library here. All right. But you can also discard your one-to-one previews, and you can build or discard your smart previews. Okay. So you can go ahead and, depending on the size of your library, this is going to take some time. So be warned that, the system's, depending on how many images you got, system's going to go through and dump those, all right, previews, and just click on discard smart previews or discard one-to-ones. I would say do both. And what that does is it basically deletes all that bloatware, all that bloated, um, data in your previews. Okay. So hopefully you'll get a little bit of, performance upgrade because you don't have all those, big previews to contend with. Okay. And maybe that will trigger something within the system that corrects the issue that you're having. And again, I'm just going by what I read. I haven't been able to test this, so I don't know how accurate that is, if it's even going to resolve any issues, or if that's even the issue that's affecting you, Brian. All right. But that's what I found. I'm just sharing it with you, and we'll see what happens. Okay. All right. Anyway, did that answer your question, Bill?
Yes, in
Okay.
fact, I just chatted. Looks like I'm using the defaults because I don't remember changing anything. So I am set to medium size, and I am checked for embed fast load data.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think it must be the default because I don't remember changing anything.
Right. Um, there is another, if I remember correctly, there was one other place, and I can't remember. Um, I have to look it up, but I thought there was another place where it has a setting for previews. Oh yeah, here it is. All right. So edit. Come on. the heck? Did my system lock up on me?
It must have. I don't.
What? All right, what the heck?
And you bought an expensive computer like I did.
I know.
You know, you expect.
God. All right, let's see. You know, and wow, I'm not even. Lightroom is not responding. What the heck? Oh no, wait a minute. Yeah, oh yeah, my other screen's working. All right, it's not my mouse. What the heck? Glitch, glitch, glitch. All right. Let's see if I can restart. Oh, did it? No. Let's cancel that. Let's see. Nope, still all right. So all right, let me restart. Yes.
That's what you get when you get 4 gigs of RAM.
Yeah, no, my oh, look at that. Doesn't even wanna quit. All right, let me do a end task. Really? Doesn't even want to do an end task. What the heck is going? Oh, something's going on here. All right, so hold on. Yeah, I'm frozen. I am definitely. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Where's my mouse? All right. Let's go ahead and reopen Lightroom. If all else fails, just relaunch, right? Okay. Oh, what the heck? Doesn't want to launch now? Really? Okay, what's going on here? No, it looks like it launched by why, you know.
Hmm.
It happens to the best of us, right?
Yeah. Hey, I'm not having a good day either. You know, it's text message.
Well, it's giving me the hourglass. So like it's saying something is happening. Task manager. Background processes. Who knows? Oh, guys, I apologize. I have no idea what my system's doing here.
Hmm.
And I definitely don't want to have to restart my whole entire system here. All right. All right, I'm just looking, actually, let me pull this up. Looking through my task manager, seeing if there'll be content synchronizer. Let me end that. Let's see if that,
Yep. My Lightroom freezes sometimes, and I shouldn't tell you when it does freeze. It freezes when I use a certain add-on that you don't use.
Well,
I shouldn't
no,
say
well,
that.
that is understandable because you're taking third-party software and you're, incorporating it into uh
In fact, what happens
well,
to me is Lightroom, I mean, Photoshop shows it being like a lot more, taking up a hell of a lot more memory than it should. Not Lightroom, I should say Photoshop. I meant to say Photoshop.
yeah, well, unfortunately Photoshop has become a ridiculous monster. All right.
Yes,
It's
which is
not
why I
letting
had to buy
me
a new machine.
some reason it's not letting me relaunch. Come on.
Duck, if worst comes to worst, I can drive. I have my Lightroom open. You can
Here we
tell
go.
me what to do. Okay, good.
Sheesh. All right. I have no clue. Lightroom wants to be all, problematic here. All right. Actually, let me go ahead and open this up. Okay. All right. So the other thing that I wanted to point out before I crashed is something that actually I need to do. But if you go to edit catalog settings, for you Mac people, it'll be in the Lightroom logo. You click on that, you'll get your uh, preference and catalog settings there. But you go to catalog settings, okay, and you go to the general tab, you're going to notice that, that it gives you the location of your current catalog, okay? And in this case, it's on my E drive, My Photos, Lightroom. Okay. And obviously, you all know that I keep all my photos in one folder called My Photos. But if we scroll over, you're going to see that there's a little button that says Show. And all this does is it opens up your file browser. Okay. And here it is. We are in My Photos. Here's
Oh,
all my folders, especially, by year, and a subfolder called Lightroom. And if I double click on that, this is where my Lightroom catalog resides. Now, uh, it's been a while since I visited this and done any cleanup, so I'm kind of glad I didn't because now I get to show you how it's done. As you know, being on a subscription service, every so often, Lightroom is going to come out with an update. And if it's a minor update, meaning it's, whatever version number, point, whatever, if it's a point 1, point 2, point 3, whatever update, it's not a significant update that it's not really going to, rearrange things on your system. It's when you go from one version to another, right? That's where we get into the more advanced kind of like rearrangements of certain things. For example, when they added the tab for the being able to control the blur. All right, that's a major update that needs to reconfigure your database in order for the database to track that
oh,
new information. So what happens is every time these major updates come up, Lightroom will tell you that it needs to rebuild the database in order to add the new the new fields that it needs to track. Okay, so what happens is that it takes the old database, all the content, it preserves that, and then just adds whatever it needs to it and relabels it with the next version up. So if you look at mine here, you're going to see that it goes all the way back to version 10 and actually version 11. Okay, version 11, version 11. Okay, so all of this kind of takes up space unneeded. Okay, I don't feel I will ever roll back to a previous edition. All right, and even if I did roll back, it's still going to maintain, you know, the current catalog, and then just basically um, not utilize the new fields. All right. So all of this here is old stuff that you don't need. All right. So all of this, like all of these version 10s, okay, can go bye-bye. All right. So but if we look, actually we'll do this. You can see that this is a anything that has LR data, all right, which Lightroom data is a database, all right. And this one, it's all the helper information, okay. We have your regular previews, okay. Here's one for smart previews, all right. Here's one for sync data. All right, and then this one here is the actual working library database. Okay. And then it repeats over again. This one goes from version 10 to version 11. Here's one for version 12, version 13, which is our current version. Okay. But we're actually in version 13.3. So you can see that I have here 13, 13.1. All right. So all those old ones can be removed, deleted. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and take all of these and hit the delete key. Hit the delete key. Won't let me delete. There we go. Excuse me.
So, Doc, this thing that you're doing right now, does this need to be done within the Lightroom environment?
Nope. Nope. This is
So
outside
I can
of
go
it.
out to my File Explorer and
Yeah.
do the same thing.
So, so all this is files that your current version no longer needs.
Right.
All right. They're just hang-ons from days of yore. Okay.
Not only do I have the current version 13.3, but I have the same data and catalog without saying a version number. None of these take up a lot of space, so I'm not in.
No, they
good.
don't.
Okay.
Where you're gonna get the space is in the preview stuff. All right.
Okay.
So, working. Where's the previews?
Are there any of these type files also in Photoshop?
No, Photoshop is not a database driven program, so you're not going to get these.
Okay.
Okay.
My catalog is virtually like just 39 megs, so it's probably just what I'm working on right now.
All right. What is going on here? This is taking forever. I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that out. All right. Now, the other thing that while we're here, the other thing that I want to point out, because sometimes this does become a problem, is, all right, here's your main catalog, okay? And you can see that actually this is called Lightroom Working version 13-3. All right, so that's my current catalog. All right, and then you're going to see 3 files right after it. Okay. And in particular, I want you to pay attention to this one, Lightroom Working version 13-3, Lightroom catalog LRCat .lock. Okay. This particular file is a temporary file that gets activated as soon as you launch Lightroom. Okay. Basically, this file tells your system, hey, Lightroom's already open. We're going to lock certain things from the system being able to do, make changes to the files while Lightroom is active and you are using it. As soon as you close Lightroom, that .lock file should disappear. Okay. There have been occasions where, like what just happened to me, where it glitched and I was forced to I couldn't close the program the right way. I had to go through my task manager to close the system. Or sometimes maybe your system just crashes and all of a sudden you're working in Lightroom and poof, it disappears. You no longer got Lightroom. All right. And then when you go to open it again, and I probably should check this, all right, it won't let you open it. Kind of like what it did with me. Know where your catalog is, because you can always come here, and if you see this file, all right, active, but Lightroom is not open, all right, if you see that file active and you can't open Lightroom, delete it. It's safe to delete the .lock file, okay? And then try relaunching and it should fix the problem. Okay. Stupid me. I should have done that earlier, but I completely forgot. All right. But anyway, that's what that's for. Okay.
What where is the harm in this? That part I missed. I'm sorry.
It's a temporary folder. Or,
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's a temporary file that Lightroom creates and launches the minute Lightroom opens up.
Oh, okay.
And basically it tells the system, hey, Lightroom's open. Don't be writing anything to any of these system files while Lightroom is open. Okay. So it's just a way of Lightroom saying, hey, I'm open. We're limited as to what we can do with system files being written to by your computer system. Okay. All right. It's a clumsy way of, working with Lightroom. I'm sure there's a reason why they did this. A computer program shouldn't have a folder that says, hey, it's locked out. All right. Don't write to me. But hey, I'm not a programmer, so I have no clue. But anyway, it has created problems in the past where you can't relaunch. So just look for that folder. Okay. All right. Any questions on anything we covered? I know it's kind of a lot of back end stuff.
I got 2 things to ask, or one while you were doing that, I took a look at my, what is it, your backup folder?
Yep.
So if we're getting rid of old versions of catalogs, it looked like there's a lot of backups we could probably dispense with too.
Yes. So, all right. Catalog settings, show Lightroom. All right. Come on. Why is my system being so slow today? Really? Okay, here we go. All right. So you can see here I have everybody should have this backups folder.
Mhm.
Okay. So when you close out Lightroom will ask you, if you want to back up your system. Okay. Some people have it so that once a week it'll do a backup, once a month it'll do a backup, however you have it set up. All right. When that time comes, it'll say, hey, it's time for a backup. You haven't done this in a while. Do you want to back it up? You say yes. It runs through, does a few things. It takes forever for Lightroom to close. But what it's doing is it's taking your current catalog and making a copy, all right, and storing it into one of the subfolders. All right, so you can see I am in my backups folder, and here it is. It's showing you when the last time it was backed up. So it's been a while since I backed up mine, but hey, I live dangerously.
Hey, Doug,
Yeah,
just for ha-has, can you open the last backup you did? I just want to see what it looks like.
it's a zip file, all right, and it's basically going to be your catalog information in a compressed format. That's all it is.
So I just looked at my backup folder. I have 97 folders in there. And going back to the very beginning, my
Yep.
first backup was 2 megabytes, and my last one was 300 some. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm chewing up some space, I think, for no apparent purpose.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
to be honest, do you need all those backups? Probably
I don't
not.
think
You
I
probably
need
just,
at least anything that's not with the current version,
right.
but but probably only like the last
The
dozen or
last
so I
couple,
would keep
yeah, the
around.
last, one or two is all you really need. So there's another way you can, pretty much here, this is all the way from 2022, 2023, you know, there we go. So yeah, so that's another way of just opening up a little bit of space. It's not huge amount of space, but hey, every little bit helps sometimes, right? Okay.
So I have another question. While you're in there doing this kind of stuff, when I first made my catalog in 2019, I called it 2019 LR Cat.
Yep.
So that's the name of my catalog.
And every
Today,
time
my
it,
catalog is called 2019 LR Cat -2 V13
yep,
3 LR Cat.
correct.
Anything I can do to rename it?
Yes. Okay. So, all right. How to rename? Okay. You can rename. All right. What you need to do is let me go edit. Oop, sorry. Edit catalog settings. Let me just pull that up. Okay. Close that up. Okay. All right. So, uh, your catalog, all right, is as you can see, I have a bunch of catalogs here, old catalogs. All right. The latest version, all right, in my case, it's version 13-3. Okay. And actually you can see that I named mine Lightroom underscore working. I don't know why I picked that. I just did. Okay. Um, if you want to rename it, you can. What you do is go ahead and you'll close out, get out of Lightroom. Okay. These temporary files will disappear. I would say make a duplicate. Okay. Make a duplicate of your catalog and give it the new name. All right. Then when you go to reopen, all right, or actually, just go file, open catalog, all right, or as you're launching, I believe if you press and hold the Control or Option key while you click on the launch icon, it will pop up a little dialog box that will ask you to open up, what catalog do you want to open up? Okay. But if you got it open already, just go to, wherever your, let's see, where is it? My Photos, Lightroom. Look for the new catalog that you renamed. Click on that and say open. Okay. And it will open up under the new one. All right. And then from that point on, it will always default to the last catalog that was opened. All right. So the next time you launch, it's going to open up to the renamed one. Okay. And it will rename all the additional folders as well. Okay.
Little too easy, Doc. Scary.
I know. Yeah. But,
Wait,
Doc, why do you
I
have multiple catalogs?
have multiple catalogs because they're old. So every time Lightroom did an upgrade, all right, it generates the new database, copies all the old information into the new database, but it preserves all the old catalogs. So they just been piling up over the, past couple of years.
Got it.
All right. On my home computer, I do have multiple catalogs that I kind of sometimes switch back and forth. So you can have, for example, you can have a catalog for your client work and a separate catalog for your personal work. So that way the two don't, don't intermix with themselves. Some people like, I knew this one wedding photographer that every wedding he did, he started a new catalog just for that wedding. So each wedding had its own catalog. And it just, for him, it was easy to archive the whole entire package, all the images, all the edits, all the catalogs as one unit in one folder, okay, and send it to his backup drive. And then the next job he creates, a new a new catalog, and everything is kind of all just these self-contained little packages. So if he needs to go back to in history to, like, last year's client says, hey, I want to buy some more prints. All he's got to do is open up that client's catalog, and he has access to just that client's work. So it all depends on how you want to, maintain your workflow. All right. Does that answer the question? All right.
Works for me.
Works. Yep.
Doc, I have an add-on question to that.
Sure.
So when a catalog is referencing a file structure, is there any symbolics in that? I'm thinking what I want to do with mine is, like we talked about last month, take my catalog and put it on a backup drive. Now, if I do that, will it still reference
Okay.
anything that's in my hard drive, or does it think it's wherever I've moved it?
Your active.
Well, no. So let's say I want to kind of do what we did here. I want to take my catalog and I want to duplicate it on another drive,
Okay.
my F drive, let's say, an SSD or something I've set up.
Right.
Now, when I go and open that drive, will it still find still know everything because the catalog points is hard coded to point back to where the files existed previously?
So yes. All right. So all right. So, let me see if I get this straight. Okay. Will you see your C drive and your D drive just for simplicity? Okay.
Right.
So let's say your current catalog is in your C drive and it's accessing images that are stored on the C drive. Correct?
Right.
And you want to take the catalog and you want to move the catalog to the D drive,
Right.
but leave the images on the C drive.
Yes.
Okay. So when you open it up, it will reference the C drive because that's how the catalog was built. Okay. Where you will run a issue is if you do it the other way. So you say, you know what? I'm running out of room on my C drive. I want to put all my images on my D drive because I went out and spent buku bucks and I got a 6 terabyte drive. Right? So I know it's going to handle all the images on there, but I want to keep my catalog on the C drive. Okay. So outside of Lightroom, you say, okay, here's my catalog. I'm going to leave it here in my C drive, but all these photos, I'm going to click and drag it over to my 6 terabyte drive, which is now on the D drive. So you launch Lightroom again. Lightroom opens it up and expecting to find all the images on the C drive, but they're not there because you've moved them to the D drive. All right. So now you have to update the current catalog and say, okay, well, everything that you thought was on the C drive is now on the D drive, and you have to reconnect or resynchronize to the D drive, which is just, find my photo. All right. And typically, if it finds the root folder, it will automatically find everything else. So
Will that cause a problem when Lightroom 14.0 comes out and it has to
No.
rewrite everything because it won't see what's on the D drive?
no, because all right, so we're in 13 now. Next year, Adobe says, hey, we got a big major overhaul. We're going to create, the next version, which is 14. 14 loads up. It says, okay, I need to add all these fields to track all this new stuff that we've put into Lightroom. So it's going to take the old catalog, which is on your C drive, but pointing to images on the D drive. It says, okay, here's the old catalog. I'm going to add all these fields for all this new stuff, and we're going to now name it version 14. So it keeps version 13, as you saw. It keeps the version 13. It makes a copy, does the modifications, renames it to version 14, and now becomes the new active catalog for Lightroom. Because it copied everything from version 13, it's still pointing to the images on drive D. All right. So it's as if nothing ever changed. Okay. Any other questions?
This is not a question, Doug, but just back to the way back when we were doing the searching the catalog at the beginning of the session tonight. Excuse me. Big thanks, because that searching by file name is that's what I was looking for last time. And that's exactly, because a couple of the ones that I'm looking for, that's it. I could find the file on my disk, but I couldn't find it in the thing. So if I can search by file name, that'll take care of my situation.
Yeah.
And I figured there had to be something like that, because
all right, but
I'm a database guy, and it
Yeah.
seems like there would have been a way to get at that.
But just to give you a little bit of a warning, all right, that it may not be the solution, okay? Because somewhere along the way, maybe something got changed outside of Lightroom, all right? Maybe you renamed the file, okay? So if all right, so the original file name was image1234, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Lightroom catalog says, hey, that is, that image is right here, okay? But for some reason it got moved, it got renamed, all right? The Lightroom catalog says, wait a minute, I still have that file, all right? Because all these other data points match what you're trying to import, except maybe not the file name. Okay. So unfortunately, as with any database, it can get glitchy. If 99% of it matches except that one data point, that one data point can screw up the whole thing. So you may be looking for image 1234, but it's actually, image, image image Bravo. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so you may have to go in and says, okay, well, if I can't find it, typing in image 1234, all right, maybe do it by date. All right. If you know the date of when it was taken, but you can't quite find the actual file, you found others with that date, but not that one, doing by names, not giving you a result. All right, let's try a different data point. Let's do by date. All right. That may say, okay, oh, there it is. It was renamed. Okay. And just try different things until you can find the problem. Right. And it may not be either one of those. It may be some little glitch somewhere else that I'm not aware of. And like I said, I'll keep searching for it and see if I can, one, recreate it on my system and find a solution for you, or see if anybody else has encountered a similar solution or a similar problem and found a solution. So I'll keep searching.
Well,
okay?
The more I look at this, I guess I would say, Doug, don't put too much more energy into it.
Well, because I want to know now. I need to figure this out.
Sure. Well, what I'm thinking my solution may be, and why I was asking about duplicating a catalog on another drive is that these things that I'm talking about are really two sets of folders. That one is an old set of uh, an older smartphone folder of those kind of pictures, and then the original stuff I took with my current camera. So I'm really just going back to those to look for old stuff I want to work on. So I was
Right.
thinking what I would do first is just set up another catalog for that kind of stuff, if I do want to do that. And then,
Okay. All right.
you
Well,
know,
then you know what? I have a better solution for you. All right. Instead of copying, duplicating the catalog, opening that up and making changes, all right? Just identify the images that you want in the new catalog, all right? Because what you're looking to do is you want to take your collection, you want to say, all right, I'm taking these images here, removing them from the bulk of my catalog and make a separate catalog, right? So at this point, you can say, all right, like for example, I want to take all of my 2024 images, okay? And I want to create a catalog just for my 2024 images, all right?
oh yeah, I forgot all about that.
Yep.
Or I
So you
never
can,
tried that
yeah. So
technique.
you can go there, library, or let's see, where is it? File, where is it? Where is it? Where's my export? No, 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 no. Where is it? Library.
Excuse me, sir. You have a new message.
Let's see. All right. Oh, here we go. Just right click. It's even easier. Export this folder as a catalog. All right. So when you do that, what I do? I clicked the wrong one.
Mm.
Export this folder as a catalog. All right. What it'll do is says, okay, where do you want to export it to? Okay. And you're going to give it the new name. All right. So new name, whatever it is. Oops. All right. Put it wherever you want to put it. All right. If you got your My Photos, okay, you can use a single folder for multiple catalogs, okay, as long as you're careful and keep in mind that two catalogs are sharing that one folder. It can be done, okay. You just got to be careful. Make sure that everything you do is within Lightroom so it doesn't interfere. Where it gets a little tricky is when you're in catalog A and you say, I want to synchronize this folder. It's finding all these folders that are actually in catalog B, but are not in catalog A. And because you want to synchronize it, it's saying, hey, I found all these images that are not in catalog A. So you got to be careful. Okay. If you don't want to play that juggling act, create a separate photo album for this second catalog. All right. Obviously, give it a name that makes sense to you. All right. And then all the images will get transferred into that. Okay. Now, when you export, all right, this is important. When you export, like 2024, I want to create a compartmentalized catalog just for my 2024 images. I'm going to export it. It's going to bundle it all up into this nice zip file. then you go back to Lightroom once you have it. Okay, once you have it, I'm going to cancel it because I don't want to do it. You're going to go File, import from another cat. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No. You're going to, let's see. I've never had to do it this way. I've always did it to import into an existing. So I'm trying to think. I think you just have to go open catalog, point to the new location, point to the new catalog, the exported catalog that you just created, and it will open it up there. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But what's going to happen is the current catalog, it doesn't remove it, because what it's doing is creating a duplicate standalone. Okay. So now when you open up the original catalog, catalog A, you're still going to see that 2024. All right. But catalog B will only be just the 2024. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
All right, catalog A is going to have everything, including your 2024. If you want to segregate it, you'll need to come back to catalog A and remove it and delete it. Okay. Again, be careful, because if you're sharing the same folder, you want to remove from the catalog. You don't want to delete. You want to remove. Okay. Because the images are being used in catalog B. All right. So if you want to avoid headaches, just create 2 separate folders. Okay. But keep in mind,
this is very similar. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, keep in mind it's going to be a duplicate.
In the relational database world, what you're describing is similar to having a table, in this case the catalog, and creating a view, which is kind of a subset or a unique view of it. That it's not really, in fact, it's there, but that's kind of what's going on. You don't want to really, if you're doing any stuff after, you want to probably keep it in the main catalog A instead of, well, anyway.
Yeah, because once you separate, once you have a child catalog, all right, anything you do in that child catalog is not going to reflect in the parent catalog.
Right.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Good questions. Yeah. Making me earn my money tonight. Cool. All right. Anybody else got anything related? I had some stuff set aside just in case, doing some color work, but we're out of time.
I do have something to announce regarding
Sure.
North Haven Camera Club. Let's see where it is. Hold on.
Yeah, I'll be
Okay,
I'll be presenting.
our meetings have always been the first and third Tuesday of the month. They're going to be the second and fourth Tuesday of the month. That's because we couldn't get the room for the first Tuesday of the month. So the first Tuesday of the month will be speakers and workshops, and the fourth Tuesday of the month will be competition, and that will be online. But the first meeting is September 10th. I'll let you know what the topics are for the first 3 months. The first month, September 10th, will be macro and still life photography. This will be a workshop. So if you do want to join and attend, bring your camera, tripods, and flash. On October 8th, Lisa Kuchera will give a lecture on macro photography. And on November 12th, Jennifer King will give a presentation on using the principles of design to create more dramatic photos.
Nice.
And the club meets at 7 o'clock. People socialize at 6:30. The address is 211 Monoways Avenue, North Haven. That's exit 9 on I-91.
Yep. And
It's
in January, I'll be presenting to the club.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Okay. Oh, what's your topic, Doc? Flower photography?
No, no. What did we settle on? I think flash photography, studio flash photography.
Okay.
Yeah, because last year I did the from drab to brag,
Yes.
which was all on editing. So
By the way,
looking forward to it.
tonight was good because even though I don't use Photoshop, I don't use Lightroom this way. People ask me questions because I'm an IT person. So if somebody says, I got this problem with Lightroom, I can go back to tonight's lecture and look at it.
Cool. You should use Lightroom.
I know.
It would make your editing so much faster and so much easier.
I do use Lightroom. I really don't want to take anybody's time just to say I do the basics in Lightroom. I do the batch stuff in Lightroom, and then I go into Photoshop and I do everything else.
Yeah.
I'm an old guy. I'm 74 years.
Oh, stop. Oh, for
I'm
God's
catching
sake.
up with you. I'm catching up.
Okay.
See
By the way,
this?
my birthday's next week. I'll be registered at Dollar Tree. I may have mentioned that last month.
Okay.
Yeah, my birthday.
Oh, when is your birthday? What day?
The 8th.
The 8th. Okay. A friend has a birthday on the 10th, which happens to
Mine's the
was
3rd.
my parents' anniversary.
Mine's the 3rd.
Okay. Oh, happy tomorrow. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy
Big
birthday
60.
to Doc.
Woo. The big 60.
Really? Okay. You're a kid.
Veritable child.
You're just a kid. You're just a kid, Doc.
I know. All right. So here's an example. This image here. All right.
Yeah.
Oops. Where is it? That's the before. That's the after. All right. All done in Lightroom. No Photoshop needed. And it's all, click and drag sliders. Makes editing so much easier. Here's another one. Before, after, all done in Lightroom.
Hey, Doug.
So what I start doing, Duck, with, what started all my questions about the catalog is one of the ways I'm solving some of my problems. I grab one of the ones that are in the catalog, even though I don't know what's in there. I just start going through them. When I see something that catches my eye, I throw it into a collection. And then, so now I've got them all organized. So when I want to look at them again, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's been a big game changer for me.
Yeah, and if anything else, Bill, that's the great thing about Lightroom. It's a content manager as well. It gives you, access to your entire image catalog, rather than trying to, recall. I don't know what you use, Bridge.
No, I don't.
No?
I use the old. It's been
Photo
a while.
Mechanic.
I use I use pencil and paper. I use don't laugh. All my passwords are not on a password saver. They're on index cards.
Yeah.
And I have coding to I remember the general password I thought of in 2019, so I'll say 2019 or 2004. But getting back to your question, I use Windows Explorer for all of my data management stuff, and I name my folders and my files in a way that I can find them. Back in the old days, if you remember the old days, a file name could only be 8 characters.
Yes.
First of all, I did what you did. For the folder, I put the year
Mhm.
first, and then the topic. It is year dash, like it'll be like for we're today, 2004 dash 0902.
Right.
Now, Shane, because he and his wife do a hell of a lot more pictures than I do, they will put a dash between the month and the day. I don't feel that's necessary. So it'll be 2004 dash 0902 and the name of the topic. And then in the file name will be, I'll do something. And one thing I learned from you is like when I name a file, the file also includes the name of the image in case I go,
Right.
okay, which was my original? So I can go back and do that. So that's, it's just something, sometimes with IT, it's like the first thing you learn is the thing that you keep doing. So
Yeah. That's true. But the
Can I
nice
say
thing,
something about that?
yeah.
yes.
I spent my career as a computer programmer and a database administrator.
Mhm.
And so when I set up and I was good at it. So when I set up my stuff for Photoshop and any other kind of stuff I was doing, I had something similar to that, what you done, that worked for me. But here's the inherent problem in that. What you just described, as well as it works for you, it's a hierarchical arrangement so that if you have all these pictures over here that were something, and now you say, I want to have them in another project for something else, there's no way you can easily find that stuff. And when I finally came to seeing what Lightroom could do for me, it's because it's basically a relational database management
Mhm.
system
Yeah.
instead of a
Yeah.
hierarchical one.
Mhm.
Then that just made all the sense, because even when I go back now and look at some of my Photoshop organization, I go, that's kind of nice, but now if I want to go find something else that might be related to it, I'm hard pressed.
Yeah,
Right.
So
that does take a little more time. Yeah.
Yeah. And the nice thing about it is you can do all kinds of sorts and searches and
Yeah.
which you
But I
can't.
should be thinking, having worked with relational databases, I should be thinking that way.
Yeah. Yeah. But hey, if it works for you, it works. That's
Yeah.
all that matters,
Yes.
ultimately. But I feel you're wasting a good resource for editing,
Mhm.
image management, you know, which is the two biggest things.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the ease of use on exporting as well, because
Yes, that I've
yeah,
noticed.
I
Yes.
I create presets that says, okay, I have presets for my clients, I have presets for my social media, so if I need something for Facebook, I pick, I wanted this one, this one, this one, and this one. Click export to Facebook, and it gives me scaled down, watermarked, whatever it is that I need for those, specific images.
Oh, I
Puts
do
it
use that.
into my folder. I open up, Facebook, and I can just click and drag it over.
I do use the export features for that reason. 8x10s. I
Yeah.
used to use 5x7 when I was in Prospect Senior Center, and then a certain size for North Haven Camera Club competition and the meetup hiking group I'm in.
Hmm.
That's a whole other different animal too.
Yeah.
Now, I have to say, one of that session you did, whenever you did it on the export settings, and that was that really changed it, my working with Lightroom a
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah, and you know, when when you're doing, you know, 1, 2 images every once in a while, you go out and you know, you photograph flowers, you photograph, you know, a field. There's no pressure on your workflow. But when you have when you do a photo shoot and you got to process, you know, 300, 500 images, and out of that you have to have 150, 200 deliverables. You don't want to be there for 2, 3 days doing all that editing if you can do it so much faster with automation. And that's the nice thing I like about Lightroom, is that I've built over time, I've built the automation that works with the way I edit my images, you know. And now with the AI, uh, I find that I'm rewriting some of those to incorporate the AI features, you know, especially with, you know, a lot of the masking, that it says, oh, you know, this one, it can pick out the sky, this one here picks out the subject, this one here picks out the background. All right. And you know, and then on top of that, they added the ability of the amount slider. So it says, oh, you know, I built it for this particular look, but there's a range when you shoot, you know. So you're always tweaking it a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. Now when I apply a preset, if it's a little, you know, too heavy handed, I can bring it down. If it's not enough, I can bring it up, you know, but still maintain that automation because it's doing a bulk of the editing for me. So, but anyway, I can expound on the virtues of Lightroom all day. You know,
Hey, Duck,
so yeah.
on another question for you. I signed up for the New Britain art thing that you haven't. And question, you said you bring Go Docs. You don't need any Pocket Wizards. They won't work with the Go Docs, huh?
All right. So they will if it's set up. So I changed. I kind of changed my studio to work with Godox because you know, I did that what 2, 3 about 3 years ago. I switched over to Godox. Previous to that, I had what you would call a dumb system. So I work with multiple lights, and if I needed to change the power of a light, I would need to crawl through my setup, all right, especially any lights that are in the back. I would have to duck under, you know, a softbox here, make sure I don't trip over wires there, and just to go from 1/8 to 1/4. Then crawl back to the camera, take a test shot, and says, oh, not enough. I got to crawl back through again. It's a big pain in the ass, but it served a purpose back in the day. All right. So when I switched over to Godox, the reason I did it is to be able to control individual lights right from the camera position. That was the motivator for me to switch my system.
How does that work with Alien Bees?
So Alien Bees has its own. Most systems have their own proprietary trigger system. Alien Bees, the older Alien Bees, they were
the 800s.
They were dumb. They were dumb.
Yep.
You needed
analog.
To go, yeah. You needed to walk to the unit to change it. I don't
Yep.
know if any of the newer ones are remote triggered. I'm not up on any of the Alien or the Palsy Buff products. I was never a big fan of their stuff. You know, they were great products, but I just never got into them. So I don't know if any of their new stuff, you know, has, you know, allows you to, you know, vary the power, you know, from the trigger.
I don't know either, because I got the bees got, well, they got to be 8, 9 years old now. They work. You
Oh
know?
yeah.
So it's sort of why
You know,
go out and buy new lights.
yeah.
You know?
So when I was designing the workshop for New Britain Art League, the Art League of New Britain, I'm going to be supplying my own lights. You know, I'm bringing my own lights, so I'm bringing the Godox lights, and anybody who has either Flashpoint or Godox, it's all the same system. Flashpoint is just Adorama's branding of Godox lights.
Yep.
So if you have a Godox remote control, or if you have a, you know, one from Adorama, they all work. Okay. The thing is, I'm hoping that, so I'm a Canon user, so I have my Canon remote. Okay. If somebody has a Nikon camera and they also have a Godox system, I'm encouraging them to bring it, so everybody else who has a Nikon will have access to the lights, because you know, I wrote it up in the write-up. If you bring a non-Canon one, expect to share it. All right. So somebody who's got a Sony or Olympus or a Fuji, which I think is, you know, I think that is a separate control. They'll be able to, you know, utilize the lights. If not, you know, I'll cross that bridge. I haven't figured out if I'm going to bring pocket wizards just in case. You know, I'm not sure how I'm going to handle that.
I'm going to bring a set of 4 pocket wizards.
Yeah,
Just in case.
you don't need to.
Okay.
I got a drawer full of pocket wizards that I haven't used in 3 years. I think I have
Yeah.
like 10 of them.
Yeah, I'm still analog though, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. That's fine. You know, the majority of it is pretty much demonstration.
Okay.
You know, so it's not like I'm not going to be cycling through everybody to shoot, because that's not the purpose of the workshop. The purpose of the workshop is to get people to understand how light, you know, intermittent light behaves in a studio environment, how you can, you know, mold it and shape it and you know, bend it to your will in a studio situation. So
Perfect.
you know, so I'll be calling out powers. You know, I'll say, hey, but you got to understand that quarter power on my flash head is going to be different than quarter power on yours.
Sure.
You know,
Yep.
it's the underlying foundational information that I want you to walk away with. Okay. And the only reason I'm bringing the Godox is for the convenience of being able to change my light settings without having to walk to them.
Sure.
That's all.
Yep.
So
I know exactly what you're meaning.
yeah.
Okay, so I'll see you on the 5th.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Okay.
Yeah, they gave
Sounds
me
like you're gonna have a lot of people there.
Yeah, I hope so. They gave me
Well,
3 hours. How
Well, I
often
think
does
there
that
was
happen?
230 people registered.
What? No,
I think that was the number that they gave me.
Oh, that can't be.
I don't know. Maybe it's a random number. I don't know.
I'll have to check with Robert.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't have access to that information. I just say, hey, you know, go
Yeah.
to their website.
Yeah, I went to the
Sign up.
website and signed up, and it said Your receipt number 232.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that doesn't necessarily mean that
Okay.
that's how many. Yeah. So, okay. Whew.
I said that was going to be a herd.
I mean, if that's the case, that'll be the largest group I've ever, performed to. That's, that's my dream, to be able to, go to like a bigger, like one of the annual conventions and do a demonstration there. But I'm not there yet, so.
Okay.
All right, guys.
I'll see you on the 5th.
Yes. No, actually, that's on the 6th. The yeah, the
Yep, the 6th.
New Britain Arts League is on the 6th.
Yep.
It's 6 hours or 3 hours?
It's 3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah, they gave me 3 hours, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
North Haven, unfortunately, when I do North Haven, that's only an hour, right? Bill, your meetings are 1 hour.
Second. Our meetings are basically 2 hours.
Oh,
but the
2 hours.
speech-
Okay.
Yeah, but the speech could go an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
when-
Yeah. And then time for all the other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm the one that goes 1 hour, but we're extending the meeting by a half hour.
okay. All right. Yeah. So the one with the New Britain Art League, I'm definitely going to be able to get into the weeds of lighting, more so than at a camera club where you're really really limited to time, or like the one with Milford Photo, again limited to time. So for those shorter sessions, it's like I try to kind of hit the big notes, and you're just gonna have to fill in the in between stuff. Hopefully, I hate teaching that way, because a lot of times people walk away. It's like, yeah, I really didn't learn very much, did I? Whereas with 3 hours, I can really really get into the weeds. So awesome. All right, guys. Once again, thank you for hanging out with me.
Thanks, Doc.
And
Thanks, Doc. Good
Thanks,
night.
Doc.
we'll see you next week for Photoshop.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
All right, Doug. Thank you.
All right, guys. Stay safe.
Thank you for watching Learning Photography with Duck. Brought to you in association with Milford Photo, your local full-service camera store. Located in downtown Milford, Connecticut, Milford Photo offers you a personalized shopping experience. From the latest camera gear to printing and framing services. And, of course, educational workshops to teach you the finer aspects of photography. Don't forget to tell them Duck sent you.